Hi everyone, it's Susan Walsh, the classification guru again. I am here at the Capitalised booth at Alteryx Inspire with Eric and JT. If you both want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to hit you with some questions.
Sure, yeah. Eric Soden, managing partner, started the company 12 and a half years ago, and we're awarded 7 years in a row a partner of the year. So
I just
yeah,
heard,
yeah,
congratulations!
pretty
Woo!
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. JT?
Yeah, so JT Morris, leader of advanced analytics practice here at Capitalize. And Capitalize about 6 years, and do a lot of exciting stuff with Alteryx, machine learning, and AI, and continuing to innovate.
Yeah, before we get into the questions, I'd love to know what inspired you to start the company.
I've been in data warehousing and ETL and BI my whole career, and it was definitely even from a childhood thing, having companies and trying to start a company was exciting. It was a question more of how the hell do you do it? Like how can you afford to do it? Because you need revenue, and where do you get revenue? So it happened. My business partner and I got together and found a niche market. Started after that, and now we've broadened our horizons out to pretty much coast to coast. So we've got worldwide customers and people all over the place.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone needs help somewhere.
That's it. That's it.
So tell me, what are the benefits of working with Capitalize?
I think a lot of people want to do transformation. They want to do better things with data. They want to do more things with data. All the technology is always changing, and so all our company does is stay on top of that technology.
Yeah.
Whereas most companies are manufacturers, or they're healthcare companies, or they're law firms, and so to expect to be able to stay on top of it, to be able to implement it, to be able to play around with these technologies, to try to figure out ways for them to work. It's like, why bring in a plumber? Why bring in a doctor? Why bring in a lawyer? These are specialized skill sets that I think some people possess and some people don't. And then the question I think is, what do you want out of the relationship? And if you want to learn, we can teach you. If you want us to do it for you, we can do it for you. If you need software, we can get you software. So our goal is just figure out what is the challenge that you're trying to solve, and then how do we put together a set of technology that you can support internally, maybe things that you already own internally, rather than having to go buy new stuff, and help overcome that challenge. And whether that's coaching or training or doing it, I think the question is, do we get the results we're looking for? And if you find a good partner, whether that's a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, whatever, then you should trust that person looking out for you, has your best interests at heart. And yes, all of those services cost money, just like Capitalize does. But if you have a good partner that you really trust, hopefully you're getting a hell of a lot more value than you are paying for whatever the service is.
For me, it's cleaners. So I hate cleaning my house. So I pay someone to come and clean my house, and that frees up valuable time for me that I don't want to do, and I would do a terrible job of it.
And people are busy, So to ask accountants, I sometimes Alteryx people are like, oh, well, let's get them a trial or let's train them. And I'm like, well, they already said they work 60 hours a week. When do you think we're going to fit this in? And why don't we free up some of their time?
Yeah.
And then if they want to learn it, we can teach them, right? And so I just think you've got to put together a plan that works for whoever you're working with for whatever reason, whatever the goal is. And if it's to free up time, maybe a cleaner's a great option. If it's to do something you don't know how to do, like fix your own car, or get an oil change, maybe you could do it, but you don't like to because it's messy.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, let's have somebody else do it. So
I liken it to cleaning data as well, because it's not just the fact that someone else is doing it for you, because you're keeping on top of it. It's less of a job each time you do it, whereas if you only do it once and leave it for however long, it's a big mammoth effort each time. So How about you, JT? I mean, what are the benefits of calling you in to come and save the day?
Yeah, and I think, approach it from a little bit of a different side. One of the nice things about the culture at Capitalize and the type of people that work there is that everyone genuinely loves solving problems and genuinely loves helping people. And so I think one of the nice things is when you engage with anyone at Capitalize to help you with whatever it is you're trying to solve, you're going to get people who are there ready to figure out what it is the problem you're trying to accomplish and help you find a path forward and build a solution to it, right? And sometimes it's building new, innovative ways, something maybe that doesn't come out of the box in this tool or technology, but we can help you build it, right? So maybe you're trying to connect Alteryx to this other system that is not connected today. Well, we're going to help you create one, right? And then helping kind of establish that field, right?
Yeah.
Kind of going back to what you said is sometimes there's a way that you can hack through and build something, but it's nice when you can do it the right way and then coach people on, okay, this is kind of our standard operating procedure going forward.
Yeah, but also as well, like if they're trying to do it on their own, they've never done it before, so they don't know what to do, but you guys have probably helped someone else do that same problem, so you know exactly what to do straight away.
The other piece of this is, especially with all this crazy technology that's coming out and it's changing super fast, a lot of people don't even know where to start. And it's like, do I have enough use cases in my company to even justify this expense? And the answer is almost certainly yes. I've never walked into a company and been like, well, you've really added it all together. Like everything's automated, everything's advanced analytics. So you may have the challenge in accounts payable. Somebody else might have it in tax, somebody else in marketing, somebody else in call center. There's so many areas of opportunity to go in, but you have to go in and know the questions to ask to elicit these types of challenges and talk about what would automation do for you and get people to show you the processes that they have so that we can document this is a process that takes 8 hours, they do it once a week, right? We start multiplying that out, that's 10% of an FTE, that's 20% of an FTE. And so, you start doing those types of things, and if you find 100 of those, that's 800 hours a week across the organization. And that, to me, is more what I consider digital transformation. But you have to find them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the needle in the haystack. People have been doing it for 2 years,
and they don't
5 years,
talk to each other.
They don't know anybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Right? I talk to leadership's the funniest group to talk to, like CFOs, CEOs, stuff like that, because they think it's all working just fine. But that's because there's an army of people holding it all together, and a lot of times they don't even realize just how challenging it is.
They don't want to put their hand up and say this isn't right.
Yeah.
So great, leading it on to my next question, which is how do Capitalize and Alteryx help clients maximize their data potential?
I think Alteryx is, I liken it to like the iPhone for data. It is. We have had tools that do ETL and data ingestion and data cleanup and all this sort of stuff for as long as I've been working in the industry, but they weren't very approachable.
Yeah.
Informatica, SSIS, SQL, Python, right? Writing stored procedures, all this sort of stuff. It wasn't something that people could necessarily do in tax and finance and accounting and HR and marketing. And Alteryx has brought that capability to a whole new group now. It's like giving power tools to somebody. They're going to probably want some training and some safety guidance and to know how to use it without
not lose a finger.
No finger losses, right? And so I think the technology opens up a new world for a lot of people who didn't have access to this technology before. And then I think Capitalize, we can help you find the challenges to solve because this is a new thing, right? You don't even necessarily know what to do with it. So if we go around and we can find 800 hours per week, per month to save you, all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is worth an investment. And then, well, should you do it? Should you do your own plumbing? Maybe not the first time, right? But if we can help you on the first couple and your people can get the hang of it, and then you have a backstop in your IT department maybe as a second level support, we'll train them up. And then maybe we end up being third level support, obviously to have Alteryx support. So I think the combination of these companies have the need. There's a new potential with these technologies like Alteryx. You need some help and some guidance and someone to show you the way. Capitalize, this is all we do, so we can do that. And then you have these the technologies that meet those needs. So to me, it's perfect. The technology meets the needs. You get help from somebody you really trust, and now you actually achieve the results you expect.
Yeah, I mean, I use it for what I need it for, but there's limitless potential and capabilities of stuff that I could be maximizing my efficiencies, but I don't know. But having someone who's seen it and done it is really helpful.
And honestly, I don't JT hasn't seen everything either. So Capitalize right now we're at 140-ish people. JT, if we were trying to do SSO to Okta and we were having a problem with some multi-cloud environment, it might not be JT who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
But he can call all of the different people at Capitalize who have done that particular piece. When they get stuck on something advanced analytics, they call JT. When JT's trying to do a Power BI thing, he calls Manel, right? And the beauty of the network inside of Capitalize is we can meet you where you're at, and then we can get the right person for whatever the issue I was just talking to somebody who was struggling getting access directly to Oracle Fusion in the cloud. And I was like, oh, well, there's an API for that. You just haven't been exposed to how to connect to it. If we get you past that part, you can probably do the rest of it yourself because you're a good Alteryx person. And so that's the same internally. None of us know it all.
Yeah.
And having a big group of people that you can rely on to help you is great.
Yeah, and JT, Capitalize have built your own tool called Workflow Admin Manager. So tell us a little bit about that and how that helped your clients.
Yeah, so with Workflow Admin Manager, I think a big part of it is some of the pains that we were seeing some of our customers have, right?
Yeah.
So there's a few different aspects. One of them being around documenting workflows. Nobody likes to document a workflow, and by the time you have the documentation created, your workflows change, and you're going to have to go
What
back
did
and
I do
update that
again?
documentation, right? And for a lot of industries, you have to be able to provide auditable documentation of what did we do in this process, how did we do this. So that was one thing, finding an easier way to be able to document all these workflows people created. But another part of that too is, well, what happens when we move from one database to another, or now this business calculation that we have in 100 different workflows needs to be updated? Well, you could go in, manually pull that workflow down, make that change, update it, go back in and upload that back to your server, or we could do that at scale. So be able to able to make mass updates to different workflows, be able to do those promotions from dev to prod. And so taking a lot of these processes that before were a little bit manual, tedious, and just trying to kind of streamline that process for everyone.
That's fantastic. So GenAI is now upon us. It's a major disruptor. People are worried it's going to take their jobs, but actually, I think how are you going to help your clients navigate the whole hype around this? What are you hearing from them? What are they asking you, and what are you telling them?
I think there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of curiosity. I think people have cracked the personal productivity part of it.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to, and I did it a few minutes ago. I asked for 5 bullet points on something, and he gave them to me. I was able to use them, and it saved me a lot of searching in Google.
Yeah.
So personal productivity, there's no question that it's fast, and certain things that you might not have been able to do as fast, but you're doing it one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Every time you interact with OpenAI or you interact with Gemini or whatever. And so some of the stuff that we're really digging into is how do we use it at scale? How do we use it for 1,000 times in one call, 100,000 times in one call, to do sentiment analysis, to look at things like reviews or escalations, building emails to be able to send out, which they mentioned in like the keynote today. And the thing is all these AI platforms all have APIs, and Alteryx can call any API. So all you have to do is send it the right information, ask it the right question, and it will respond with the result.
Yeah.
And so we've just been using it. It's almost like just another tool from the top, right? If you didn't have a filter tool and someone created one, it'd be really cool. You'd be like, oh, wow, look, I can filter my data. Well, now there's these GenAI tools. If you want to do computer vision, you want to scrape a PDF, or you want to scrape a CAD drawing, that's easy now because the LLMs can do it. So you drag it in, you stick it in there, you wire it up just like you would any other tool, and now you have this capability that never existed. So, what does it mean long term? I don't know. I'm not going to be the one who sound like an idiot on the internet 10 years from now.
But a true passion of mine is data quality, and I think that's at the heart of everything.
Yeah.
Along with governance. So, what role is that playing with GenAI solutions, and how are you supporting customers with that side of things?
Yeah, it's very slippery, right? It's
Yeah,
very slippery because when your people are using Gemini, or they're using OpenAI, or they're using Grok, or they're using whatever, like that's public stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever you put in there, you don't know where it goes. And
you need to know the
stays.
source. Can you trust it?
Yeah. And what are they doing with the data once you send it to them? So I think there's so much around governance that needs to be figured out, and I think the danger is you over-govern and you lock down innovation to the point where nobody gets anything done and isn't able to use it. The flip side of that coin is you just let people run wild, and then the next thing you know, people do something terrible and release all of your IP, and pretty soon, OpenAI has the Coca-Cola recipe, which is a guarded secret.
Yes.
And so you need to think through that stuff, and you need to figure out what is the challenge I'm trying to solve, what are the tools I have at my disposal. If I do something, is it going to be supported by enterprise IT? Is it going to be supported by internal and external audit? And just like everything we do, you have a build and a test phase and a code review phase, right? Like, we shouldn't be doing this stuff on millions of records on our core data in public foundation models without talking to anybody. So I think a big part of it is make sure you're talking to IT, show them what you want to do, talk to consultants who know how to do it, talk to your internal and external auditors, explain what you're trying to do. And maybe it means instead of using a foundation model, you guys have to stand up a model internally that's walled off. But all those options exist, and they're ever changing. And I think we're going to see bazillions of new pieces of software that will come out to help with this challenge, including Alteryx is already talking about trying to help. But
I think the layer on it too, on the governance aspect and making sure things are locked down, is also more than ever data quality is important, right? Can we trust the data that we're using? And these models, they can do a lot of great things. For just like anything else, if you're giving the wrong information to a human, they're going to make the wrong decisions, actions, etc. So you need to be able to make sure that what you're feeding into that model, what you are using, one is safe and secure, but also it's accurate and representative of the actual information that you need to go off.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
garbage in is garbage out.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of your clients are now starting to integrate GenAI models and things into Alteryx. Are you seeing any challenges that they're facing? Is there any common themes with that? Or is it just the dirty data?
Well, dirty data is one in which Alteryx helps clean up, which is great.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is, are you doing it safely? Are you doing it effectively? Are you getting the results? Like, are these hallucinations? What are we getting back? And so we did a sentiment analysis with one of the models, and we just asked for positive or negative. Is this review positive or negative? And you'd scroll through and positive, negative, positive, 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 negative, 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 and then all of a sudden unsure or mostly positive. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Mostly.
I like that's not going to work in the dashboard, right? We can't deal with that. And so then it's like, okay, so we really have to test these things. And then what's crazy about them is every time we run them, they answer differently.
Yeah.
Right. And so how are we going to deal with that and make sure that we have consistency, or if there's lack of consistency, lack of precision and accuracy, that's acceptable, or we have a step to test it or something, right?
Yeah.
And I think going back to kind of your comments earlier around, wasting people's jobs and automation, but in most cases, there's still kind of a human in the loop somewhere in the process, right? And some of these you can build in checks and controls in place, but then there's some things that you're still going to want some review or vetting from a person to make sure, can we trust these results? Are they still accurate?
Big fan of that. But also, I think it's about using it wisely, not blindly. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. I liken a lot of this stuff to if you had an intern, you wouldn't just say, hey, close the books this month at your multinational organization and expect that to go well. Just like that. It doesn't know everything about your organization. It doesn't know exactly what you're doing. It doesn't know why you're doing it. So there's a lot of context that it doesn't have, that you have, that either you need to give it and still check it, or that you're going to need to review for consistency.
Yeah, that's the second time I've heard that analogy. I was at an event in London just last week, and it was the same analogy used. Think of your LLM as an intern, or
very, very
you
smart
have to,
intern.
has all very the smart, but
has all
they
the
might
knowledge.
not have context
That
or
no
real life
context.
experience.
That's
So
right.
you have to teach it
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Your businesses have so much tribal knowledge, right? There's things that within your organization can be very specific to the type of things you guys are doing. And so, it knows a lot of things, but it doesn't know everything.
And I think there's a bit of a myth out there that, like, everyone's using GenAI right now, and there are so many companies that are not there yet. They're not even ready or feel intimidated by it. So what kind of tips and advice would you give them to start out on their GenAI journey?
I feel like it's the same with almost all technologies. Do something small, low risk. Do something that you can do in a sandbox or as more of a test or a POC, and get comfortable with that, and then build onto that, and then find out what if it says not sure or mostly positive, figure out what you need to tweak. I wouldn't right now bet your entire company on one thing that you're going to do with GenAI. Right now, I think personal productivity is obvious. Making your marketing people faster for writing copy, making people quicker because they can summarize things really quickly. They can ask it a question and responds really fast. I actually, this is one I just did, but I have get emails and people have signatures, and I just want to turn that signature into a contact.
Oh, nice.
Oddly, there's no way to do that I know of on the phone. I can't just highlight it and say, make that a contact. So I copied it and I stuck it in OpenAI and I said, hey, turn this into a contact. And it turned it into a contact. It gave me the file. I opened it, and it added a contact to my phone.
I'll tell you just very quickly an example. So I've just written the second edition of my book. And for this edition, they want alt text on all the images, so for book readers.
Yeah.
So I put every image through GPT, and it did a better description. Like, it knew the Excel functions just by the screenshot, and they weren't big screenshots. It was phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think right now we're in a situation where experimentation, because no one may have ever done what you just said.
Yeah.
That might have been the first time anyone's ever done that.
Yeah.
And when in our lives could we say it's the first time anyone's ever done anything that we did?
Yeah.
But there's probably things that we have done with GenAI that no one else has ever done because it hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to be coming up with these little eureka moments. I took that contact and I said, can you make a QR code so people could just scan it and add me to their thing? So I have a QR code on my phone. If you scan it, it adds my contact to your phone. But like, I didn't even know if it would work. I just asked, and it came back with a QR code. And I was like, this is awesome.
Amazing.
I don't know if anybody's done it or not, but I've done it, and it works.
How about you? You've been...
Yeah, and the biggest thing right now is encouraging innovation, try new things, but like start small, iterate on little things here and there. What you don't want to do is run into a situation where trying to use AI just for the sake of using AI, right? You've got to think about it like another tool in your toolbox, right? There's certain things that it can do really well, but it can't do everything, right? Like trying to build a time series forecast model or trying to create projections, like I'm probably going to use something else other than generative AI. But if I'm summarizing a bunch of documents and being able to use that to craft personalized emails and messages, right? Really great applications for things like that. You know, I think some of the biggest areas where my people are spending a lot of time reading, writing, trying to synthesize information. A lot of those areas where you really couldn't do that without a human being in the past. So start thinking about those areas where we're spending a lot of time doing that. And those are great candidates for GenAI use cases.
I message JT every day and say, I just thought of another one. and then we go test it, see if it will work, you know? And that's the really fun part. But the danger, I do think the danger is being myopically focused. If your people are still doing 99% of stuff in Excel, if your people are still doing stuff like the old-fashioned way, AI might not be the answer right now, right? You might have low-hanging fruit, could very well be fixing your Excel situation, using Alteryx for what it was intended for in the beginning, not worrying about what the future is going to hold. And again, I think you need to keep that top of mind. But it's cool. I don't know. I just think people are a little too focused on it right now. That's all anybody wants to talk about.
Well, gents, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. Really valuable insights there. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Enjoy the event.
Thanks. You too.